Hello, people. Hope you can hear me. As long as I broadcast with somebody else, uh, the program software doesn't work, so might as well do this on chance. So just write me if you can hear me so we can continue. Anybody? Well, today I was reading some comments on my recent video, which was called New Phase, where I was talking about some. And thanks, guys. Um, I'll take a listen. But 3 months ago, you were in denial of melted buildings, and there are thousands of examples. It fills in so many gaps. The flood happened probably at the same time. But if you are missing the melt, you are missing the core of the most recent reset. What destabilized the power which was not Tartarian, and we can see it in their architecture. Same guy told me, his name is Jerome. He told me time code 918 on my last video about melted buildings. Wow, just cannot see. It's really amazing to see how some just cannot see and make up the most ridiculous excuses for what is right in front of your eyes. So the guy brought me back to this topic. Actually, I took a look at what's going on in the internet right now. Maybe somebody else appeared with the evidence of melted buildings, because you probably heard that I was calling people out to talk about it, but nobody actually appeared. Yeah, hello, Memory Man. Peter, hello. Gamnut Man, hello. Feline Blue 2, hello. Kevin, none of your business, hello. Matthew Adler, hello. Rob Files, hello. Yeah, each and every chat that I do right now can be my last one, because nobody actually knows when they're gonna shut down YouTube. They shut down Instagram, Facebook, and many more platforms already. And in case of YouTube, it's very stupid excuse, because YouTube blocked a channel with Soviet movies and documentaries. Just imagine, that was some stupid idea for the YouTube workers. And so Russian communication agency wrote them, demanded them to restore those channels. So I hope they be smart enough to restore it, because if they don't, just like in case with Instagram and Facebook, they're gonna be blocked like maybe 3 days after they don't do it, to the time they were waiting them to restore the channel. YouTube is garbage, of course, but we use it just because we used to it, and there's nothing better actually that works, that people can find, and so many more new subscribers can be found only on YouTube, because the so many people here. It's like second biggest search engine in the world. So just imagine, in case of education, in case of researchers, information, that's definitely platform number one right now. But anyways, so let's return to melted buildings. So I took a look at many information way back in the days when I was talking about melted buildings. You might as well go to my channel, just search melted or something, and some of them will fall out in the search result. So the same I did today, and took a look at some channels that promote this stuff, and I was very disappointed, because I was already debunking melted bricks from Jon Levi's video, and I thought he was stopping that for a while, but no, he has some more videos. Yep, that's the video I was doing when I was talking about the evidence he presented in his video. That's the burned Fort Zverev with these melted bricks. Yeah, and I even found the footage of original fire. There's plenty of pictures here. Let's see. Yeah. So it was completely burning for several days. Nobody was shutting down the fire, and look what happened to these bricks and stuff. And it's now a very well-known place. You can Google information there. You can see a bunch of videos. You can even find the original fire footage, which was in 70s, and people were filming because it was fire for a very long time. I mean, it was burning and burning and burning and burning. It was used like an ammunition depot for Navy in World War II and World War I, I believe. So the construction of fort itself and everything inside is very well known. Well known. I mean, nothing that would be leading you to an opinion that something happened to this fort, because some facilities of it were untouched by fire and they look different than this. So that totally devastates the argument that it was some like plasma event. So it's kind of, because outside is okay and inside is, definitely has melted bricks inside. So that's the only melted bricks that you can find. uh, and you can definitely explain it with very easy. So I don't want to show it right now. So I went to Jon Levi's channel, and I don't know where that video, first video about bricks here. Well, anyway, so I saw just, wow, 5 weeks ago, 1 month ago, he made another video on melted buildings, and another video 4 months ago. So 20-minute videos of Jon Levi. So we might as well just take a look at the cases that he presents and cross-check them, as I always do when I cross-check the evidence or the information or stuff like that needs to be cross-checked, like footage, you know, images, pictures, paintings. You have to do it all the time, because if you're not doing the research, actual research, then you are just speculating and wasting people's times. What I think, because I'm not here for the fame, and of course I'm not here for criticizing such a beautiful, uh, well, not beautiful, but great, great creator as Jon Levi. Of course, he has a bunch of subscribers, and probably some people are subscribed to me and to him, who actually knows. Well, but when you write this melted building proof, it's supposed to have melted building proof, right? When you when you write a title, melted cities of the past, it's supposed to contain the information about melted cities of the past. That's why I chose to name today's stream as a marshmallow world, because well, if you've watched that video of Jon Levi, he calls some things look like marshmallows, and so I think it's good to show these features that he was showing. Let's see. I'm not here to start all the video from the beginning, just finding the first footage that he's showing and going through it. So I'm not here. I'm not gonna debunk each and every picture. I'm just gonna say general, right? This first footage that he's showing here, um, we cannot cross-check. Actually, let's just hear what he says.
Overgrown, and yet are these grid, and we see a great resemblance. This was shared by IRS Media, and he was just combing the California highway, and he found many ruins right off the highway, and most of them overgrown, and yet are these pockets of survival. Of course, keeping in mind that mountains, not all, but many, could be melted buildings.
Well, exactly, John. They could be melted buildings and could be not melted buildings. So when we do research, we need to cross-check something. So he has some. He said that he has GPS coordinates. So if that's not very far from you guys, you can always go there and check it by yourself. Is it a pocket of survival, or is it just something that remains of something that wasn't recent? There was not that long ago. But anyways, even on these low resolution pictures, you can see that the structure of both things is different, and they don't belong to same era, at least. But well, we have to have high definition images to disprove or prove anything. That's what I'm trying to say. So um, let's go further what he says.
plasmified, along with water and events that we know nothing of that occur during resets. And here again, absolutely fascinating. Off the California highway, I'm not sure what, I think 1. Here's coordinates. And look at this. This should be some historical site. And no, just ignored. And I was just taking screenshots from his video, and he was using the Google tool. Here's some crazy structure that he was showing. And here again, some more of these bricks. And I think these were in Santa Monica. Here, another look. Now, would anybody do this? Would anyone just brick this up?
Yes, John, sometimes they brick some cracks and creeks to create some type of a crossing. As you can see, there's some crossing on the top, possibly, and there's no reason to call this the same structure as what is on the left and what is on the right. So I don't see any reason to uh, doubt that this was built by somebody else not that long ago. Okay.
Perhaps. And if anyone can go to these coordinates, and I am pretty convinced that this is the remains of a structure. Here we can see her skeleton, or the core, and this is what's missing in our community. It's just cutting into these things, peeling away the mud, or as some would say, volcanic ash. And I don't know, the building could have melted, creating a veil or a rock curtain over the top, or it could also have been covered with a volcanic ash that I proposed in a video long ago as one of a dozen different mud flood theories.
That's what I'm afraid. When we have like a dozen different mudflood theories, we won't work it. 5 years, 6 years of research. I don't know how long are you in this, John, but we have to have at least some direction, because if we look all around us, we won't find anything. We have to find a certain path, a certain borders of something. That's why it's called research, actually, because you do certain area, certain field. But in case of this photograph, I don't see any skeleton of the building. I don't see anything here. I see some type of bridge on the top, and maybe these are the marks of some construction that maybe we're doing here. Who actually knows? As I was saying, you have to take a look at the high definition. And if you have actually these coordinates, you can always go there and film it in high definition and present to the people. And then perhaps we'll discuss something about this or that evidence that you present from somebody's video screenshot.
Which I'll eventually carry over to other theories, like the melted building theory. This could be covered, it could have been rocked by water and mud in some kind of tsunami, but clearly the building or the levels have collapsed, pancaked, and
Well, the levels haven't actually collapsed. If you see, they are standing still. So I don't know where you see the collapsed levels, or how do you call these melted building theory if the theory is supposed to have some evidence, right? It has to be repeatable, observable, and so on. So we cannot call this a theory, because theory is a proven thing, right?
to me this would require some great heat, as we saw on that day in September in New York. And so here, a collapsing, a pancaking, and a dustifying. But again, many theories, I don't know. I wasn't there. But most people, certainly in the mainstream, aren't even going to look at something like this. It's not even on the table as anything but dirt and layers, billions and billions of years of layers. And it's tough when it just looks muddy, just little holes like some Swiss cheese. But here, for
Yeah.
example, it gets a little better. Now, again, we see these same kind of brick section, and perhaps these are newly added by the Native Americans. But otherwise, the rest is the remains of a melted building, in my opinion, and possibly covered in ash as well. And
Well, how much guessing it can take to find out the truth? Go there, film it, and you find that it is not a melted building. Just enormous complex of this park. I know this park. You've been there, John, as you've been saying. So it's a huge park. So it doesn't consist of just one or two. It's just, it's supposed to be, like you say, in the melted cities, right? But it doesn't have anything inside. All this stuff is scratched. It's simple work. I don't know why don't go there and prove us something, like at least.
this is on my to do list, the Bandelier National Monument in New Mexico. One of my favorites. Little rooms inside, and no way are Native Americans just carving things like this out.
Well, John, Native Americans know how to carve. Believe me, this looks like very soft material, but I'm not humiliating, but Native Americans can do it. Can do it for sure. It's very easy for them to scratch the rock. I mean, they had the instruments to do that. Enough instruments. And look at these ruins here below. So they can even build, they can even do masonry, they can do holes. This is all easy for them. At least maybe we don't even know when they did it. Maybe they did it in 19th century, who knows? Maybe they were hiding here, who knows? It's up to the place. You can go to this place, and actually there's a bunch of guides there. Find out what they're talking about, this stuff. Go inside all these caves, film it, find out the traces of the ancient civilization. Just imagine the amount of melted material here. How in the world it's still standing? If this huge weight construction would have been melted, it would have collapsed way before than you visited this place. And it's still standing because it's not a construction, it's a pure hill or a mountain which got petrified. But the composition of this mountain is questionable. How it was made, we're going to talk about this later. Just let's go further.
In a primitive fashion, it's more realistic that this is the remains of an advanced building that is in absolute ruin. Just a fragment remaining, just barely, the slightest trace remaining. And I do think the natives popped these rock curtains out. I'm sure what happened is they realized a few of them were hollow, and they began just punching them out and making shelter out of them.
Well, John, you are, so rude about natives. They wouldn't be just walking around the rocks and be punching them out. I mean, that's not very smart. Ancient were smart.
But they're not responsible for carving this out. They wouldn't have done things like this up here, or these incomplete sections. No.
Of course, they incomplete sections. Why wouldn't they do that? I don't know. Any reason, John? Just name one reason why they wouldn't be doing that.
No reason. And
No reason.
many parts of this park are off limits, and I think a structure like this was probably made by the Park Service. Very recent, with its fresh wood here. And this leads me to some photos that I wanted to share by the Wise Up channel. I took about a dozen screenshots from one of his videos. This is not one of them. And I just wanted to discuss them. I had no conclusions similar to what we're looking at here.
Yeah, let's discuss it. Because Wise Up has a bunch of videos where he just points at the screen and has no nothing to say really to prove what he's claiming there.
I'm only certain of what it's not. Here on the inside, we see archways and a beautiful floor. And
Guys, well, beautiful floor. If the floor is looking flat, it's not beautiful. Just go to St. Isaac Cathedral. I don't know. You'll find that the beautiful floor is there. This is not a beautiful floor. Just ridiculous.
similar to what we see in Cappadocia. The only difference is there's even more preservation in Cappadocia. Cappadocia is a perfect example of this melted building theory. The top here just cooked like a marshmallow. We've all burnt a marshmallow and how it puffs up, and yet so much of the building remaining in these little rooms.
Well, let's go to cooked. If we return to this video, we'll see how it looks. It looks like a little vitrification, little glares. And I even found the guy who was doing this stuff on YouTube. He was melting the rocks and showing how they were looking after being melted. And the same, look, it's like a little glaze on the melting. So when you melt something, you find out that the same was with the vitrified force of Scotland. They were doing the same. They were burning the rocks for days and watching how to create a melted rock. And they even found something when they were done. They excavated. They found some rocks there that look kind of vitrified. Okay. So all my video, this exact video was showing how melted things look like. But here we see the effect of oxidation, weathering, and we call it moisture. But sometimes rains go, they don't fall inside of these facilities. Let's not call them buildings first. Just cave monastery. It was called monastery. Okay. And so what I'm trying to say is that these marks that look black and John is calling marshmallow are just the effect of this crust being exposed to weathering effects and sun, oxidation, weathering, and moisture, of course. So that's why the color is different. But actually, if you have a better resolution pictures, you find out that it's all primitive there. It's all very well known. This place is very well known, and a bunch of these places were researched for a very long time. And even I was taking a look at it 5 or 6 times. I was looking at this, these ancient cities, these ancient underground cities of Cappadocia, of this monastery city, all these caves and stuff. So nothing really has any reason to say that those people who created them were stupid. No, they were kind of smart and they knew how to work with this rock. But anyways, there's nothing extraordinary like a building that was melted, nothing like this. Because if the building was melted, it's supposed to have some straight, direct lines, some design inside, some symmetry, right? We don't have this symmetry anywhere on this footage. It's all cheese. Look at this. So it's only one place here, no symmetry here. So all these cells are different. So is here. It's all like cheese. Like, I'm gonna show it how it's actually was created, but a little bit later. Also here, why is that picture also cheese type of structure, right? But these bubbles are found in the mud very often. They are filled with gas, with gravel, with some rocks, with concrements of a different density, and they create those marks after they fell off, because it's falling off with some period of time, because it's not very dense structure. It's not a granite, okay, and it's really easy to work with it.
Difference is there's even more preservation in Cappadocia. Cappadocia is a perfect example of this melted building theory. The top here just cooked like a marshmallow. We've all burnt a marshmallow and how it puffs up, and yet so much of the building remaining in these little rooms.
It's not the building remaining. As you can see, it's simple integration to this construction, as these bricks here also added up later. So it's not a remaining at all.
Rooms and windows, and who knows what this structure looked like. But similar to what we were just looking at, where they want to tell us primitive Native Americans carved it all out, they want to tell us the same thing here in Turkey. And again, having a very similar feel, but yet having a lot of preservation, as you
Yeah, a lot of preservation, but no marshmallow effect here. As you can see, no marshmallow effect. So if it's not repeatable, John, then it's not repeatable, right? And it can be seen anywhere else that it's not repeatable. Even in this area, you find different surfaces, different colors, different um, types of structures, windows, doors. It's so different, but it's so primitive. It's so primitive because it can be done by anybody. Even when we were discussing that with many times before, when all this clay and mining bright products are brought in the area of mining, they've been dumped, and they create these hills. The other way they can be created by so-called drilling, because mud comes out of up from the underground and creates these hills, and it's well-known mud volcano effect, because they grow, create those hills, and they grow in always, right? Sometimes maybe the pressure will come down and they will stop growing, but it all depends on a certain area, okay? So is here. Even if you have this roundish structure which looks like a dome, it doesn't look any technology here. It doesn't have windows. It's so bricked up with the real rock that is inside. You cannot punch the window like you've been saying. There's nothing like this, okay? So it's the early Christians' place, as what they say. I'm not sure about it. I am very skeptical about all this stuff. But it's not a melted building. It was carved from a rather soft type of rock.
can see up here. Look at the ring around this cylindrical remain of some kind of tower. And here we can just see how it was flowing. And no doubt, a building that has melted like wax. And yet, thank God.
Well, the problem with wax is it really does melt, but it's not melting uh, with the fire or something. It even melts with the heat. Just imagine Turkey. Turkey has high temperatures, way above 40, 50 degrees Celsius in the summer. All this wax will be melted already. When if you talk about like way marshmallow, wax, all this stuff, well, marshmallow is soft, rock is very dense and solid. Petrified mud is also rather dense and rather solid, but you can scratch it with your finger and you find out that it's very simple. Of course, your finger will be wounded soon, but you can do it. You can rip off the rocks, little gravels from it. You can see that the structure is not an ash, because ash, volcanic ash, is very very small particles, and they don't have gravel inside. All these places have gravel inside. So what's up? Hello. No ash here either, anywhere.
Some was preserved. Again, this is very, very nice up here. This example. Clearly anything but natural.
Well, John, go ahead and go at the places like where they do this rock, cutting, funeral, and all this cemeteries. You'll find out that they can cut rocks way more beautiful than this one.
Showing signs of being built. And here again, the impressions are left for us. Right angles are.
John, this is ridiculous, guys. Just some marks that be left on something doesn't prove anything, guys. This is outside. You have to go inside and prove that there was some type of a window inside. At least I don't see any symmetry, any right angles here. It's so random, completely can't be taken seriously. I don't know.
Archways, as we see here. This could be popped out. Here, another archway that could be popped out. Here, an opening leading up into another level. And here are some of the best examples. This is as fine as it gets. Or actually, in Petra, would probably be as fine as it gets. This is very Petra-esque. And you see the beautiful columns that have cracked off and still affixed to the top. And you can see the beautiful structure that it was, and now has this burnt marshmallow around the top of it, just dripping down. And I believe that somebody has popped these out, probably got in through the bottom and popped these windows out from the inside. And here in the background, you see more buildings, all marshmallowed at the top. So now we just reverse engineer. We just walked these examples from less recognizable now to almost absolute certainty that this was a structure. And it's been hit hard from the top and from the bottom, seeming to be cooked from the top, but having been sucked clean from the bottom, as if everything was just being sucked up from the ground. And we can get a
Whew, I barely took it. Well, what can I say? Let's go exactly to the place where we can see these types of structures. As John says, there's buildings in the back. Here. Oh, this Cappadocia, by the way, looks kind of the same. But you might as well take a look at this hydraulic mining information. And as you can see, miners doing hydraulic mining, they have this instrument which can be directed, and they collect it. And take a look. It's exactly what John is looking at Cappadocia. These strange, fine looking, sticking things. Doesn't look the same as Cappadocia, guys. It looks the same. And what they do with this monitor, it's called the monitor, they can direct it and create those lines. They can cut back and forth, and create these parallel lines. Okay, so if we go to, let's see, Cappadocia. Cappadocia. I don't know what's happening with this Google View. Well, everywhere we see these structures are here also. Let's see if I can do it in Yandex, because Google sucks definitely in showing pictures. Okay, that's the way. Yep, look at this. So all the way you have this line, and then you have this marshmallow top, the conic top. Here also, somewhere you don't have these lines, but somewhere you have something like this that can be shown. And if we go back to this place and see and compare, you find out that it's pretty much the same and could be done with this technology. Okay. And you can also find a bunch of high high definition footage from here, there, all these flights you can see even on the top. Everything is cool. But what's up with this thing? What's up with this thing that John's showing two columns sticking from the top? I can assure you, John, that it was cut. It was cut by those who were attracting tourists to this place, because I was scrolling and scrolling all this footage from Cappadocia for several times. I've been saying I look at it way before you did made this video, so it wasn't on purpose. I've seen a whole bunch of this, and I've seen this place too, and I'm telling you, it was cut not that long ago, because nobody had this Cappadocia thing here that you've been showing as something that was pictured on ancient drawings. But anyway, you can do it. Just find me uh, some ancient drawing that depicting the same, because Turkey is well known for sure. Somebody was drawing there, and Cappadocia was also the object of the research of those people who were going there in 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, and so on. People are doing history, they go into the places, they draw like they used to draw sphinxes, and Napoleon used to draw pyramids when he went somewhere. So it's like always, when you go somewhere, you draw and you publish this stuff, and then we can find out actually if this or that artifact is legit, or if it was just cut out from the rock not that long ago. But I'm not saying anything here. It's up to you to prove this thing is not what I'm saying. But what you've been saying about sucking in, sucking out, all this stuff is totally speculation. I highly doubt you believe in what you say. As a speculation, okay, sucking in, sucking out can be great reason of why rocks are here, but what about they just took it away, just cleaned the area because it's a city? Who would have think it was good to have so many rocks laying around on the streets, right? So, okay, if they were cutting here something, they were attracting tourists, they were pretending everything is a Christian facility, ancient Christian facility, so the tourists can go there. They even have hotel rooms that can be rented in such facilities. So, uh, okay, let's go further.
being sucked up from the ground. And we can get a good look at this ground sucking at the Hovenweep National Monument, which is found in southern Utah, bordering Colorado as well. And we see these ruins, and we see signs of absolute melting and destruction. But many of these structures appear to have the earth around them.
So let me just, repeat after John. So he's looking at the bricks or something, buildings, masonry buildings on the top of the rocks. Unlike the case before, where all this stuff from the top was marshmallowed and was sucked in or sucked up from the top, we have, as he's saying, that's the biggest example of sucking in, sucking up. Just watch his video and find out what he's saying. Actually, I'm not very good at this sucking in, sucking up thing. But anyways, we don't see this at this footage because masonry sticks. Oh, nothing happened to it, and below it it's melted buildings this time. But why don't you just, prove any rock is a melted building then? Why do you find the examples with the masonry about it as a detail? I don't know if that is a valid argument. Then you have to point each and every house standing on a rock is a melted building then, okay? But you don't do that. You only do it with the ruins. Why, John? I don't see your logic here.
Completely displaced. Sometimes towers resting on little stumps, like we see here, as if everything around it has either been washed away or sucked away. And this is something that's been a mystery to me for some time. I've actually physically been here and plan on returning. And here was something shared by Paul Cook, again very similar.
Sorry, Paul Cook, it's you again. that, uh, that are laying in front of my vehicle. Well, I have to ride you over too because pockets of survival idea is very stupid. Go and debate me if you don't believe what I'm saying.
Pockets of preservation, surrounded by a complete disfiguration, things like this, and played off as primitive. So here are the Wise Up photos, and he's outlined these portions.
Yeah, as I've been saying, Wise Up likes to point at the screen, line something up, find some pareidolia figures sometimes. I cannot explain why. He thinks sometimes it's a wood that got petrified, another time he thinks it's an iron that got petrified. I don't know. Is there any actual logics in this? Wise Up? I don't see any logics in this. So I'm actually not sure why are you not showing who you actually are. Wise Up? Your Birmingham accent is very distinguishable, though. We definitely will uh, take more look at what you've been doing before if you would show your face because you are distracting so many researchers with your evidence. Even John Levy fell into your trap, although he even admits that you don't believe and you don't subscribe to melted buildings.
Of engineering that remain, and I don't believe that he subscribes to the melted building idea. He, as of recently, seems to be, or seems to believe, that these buildings are covered with volcanic ash. And again, I think that could be a possibility. I'm not here to
Yeah, possibility is always a good thing, but the possibility that rocks, simple gravel fragments, concrements of different material are found in this so-called ash is very low, but you can find it everywhere. All these rocks contain different things, and ash is simply the same. If it was exhausting from a volcanic source, it definitely would have the same color, the same structure. It's not like you cut some of it and you find it that it's white, right? It's supposed to be black everywhere. It's grayish color, man. I mean, John Levy, you are debunking Wise Up, and you're doing a good job.
tell you what to think, and I'm not quick to decide or make an absolute conclusion for myself. I think there's many ideas on the table, and I appreciate everyone discussing all these different ones.
Yeah, that's what we do here. We are discussing all these ideas.
Regardless, I think all the different angles in this community would agree that this is the remains of something advanced.
Why would we agree of that? I don't see any reason to do that.
And not just some primitive carvings done by primitive people. At some point, Wise Up was talking about a lot of these structures being made of wood, but sometimes he talks about steel, and I believe they could be wood in some cases, and in other cases, steel.
Well, still, hmm wood it would be working better. Yeah, you can cut wood very easy, but can you create some forming like this with steel? I highly doubt that. It's definitely a rock cutting thing. You can even see that's lack of symmetry here and so on. So I don't see any reason to call it primitive. Of course, it's primitive in relation to some plasma or whatever imaginary thing. Um, but well, plasma is not imaginary, but this plasma event that people talk about. Of course, it's who has this plasma probably is very advanced, and this is very primitive in comparison to those folks who have plasma technology. But actually, as a rock cutting thing, this is very good. It's not primitive, but it's not very technological, of course. That's what I'm saying. Don't disgrace those people. They did a good job.
Concrete, and everything that we use today, just in complete ruins. Here again, he was showing an example in the Ukraine. So I just think this really ties in well with everything that we've just been looking at. And regardless of what you think happened,
Well, just hear what he says again.
ties in well with everything.
Let's see.
Here again, he was showing an example in the Ukraine. So I just think this really ties in well with everything that we've just been looking at.
Ties in well. So it's tying in well. I don't see any tying in well here. I don't see any tying in at all because there's no. Every example he's been showing is all looking different. I don't see any repeatable evidence. Okay. Yes, we see the red lines that Wise Up was drawing, and that's it. And some selective cherry picking, low resolution footage, and that's it. That's all what ties in with this stuff, of course.
And regardless of what you think happened, I think everyone can agree that these are the remains of structures, whether they've been covered in volcanic ash or plasmified, anything but primitive. This is super advanced.
Additive, but primitive. But take a look. It's anything but not that primitive. It's okay, but it's not plasma for sure. So it's like, we are talking about different types of, it's like a word debate, a phonetic script that John is promoting here. It's like ties in well, everyone would agree. No, everyone would not agree here, John. Believe me, everyone would not agree, and nothing ties in well here, and it's not plasma or anything, because plasma would make it a glazed surface, and it's not glazed, right? It's not glazed.
Even in its complete ruined state. And you see the block lines have just fused from such a heat. And yet this structure must have been diesel. Maybe this thing was made of thick metal or something. And here again, without the red, and clear as could be, nobody's coming up here and carving this point here.
Why not? Why not? Why not carve this thing to make it look like a house? Why would some people would have done that for sure if they wanted to attract tourists to make these caves or something, right?
And look at the beveling around the door. But this thing seems to have buckled right here. Just the heaviness, the mass. And yet here would have been an opening and a platform that has just tilted on its side.
Well, John has very good romantic imagination type of character, I would say. He is good at it, but I don't see any platform here. I don't see any evidence that he is naming. And, you know, guys, write me in the comments what you think.
And melted in on itself. And here again, I think he's done a great job of highlighting the
Random images.
unnatural portions. And here again, Cappadocia, and more Cappadocia. And this is what I'm talking about. This is my favorite.
Finally, we got to something that is favorite of John. So this is where we can look a little bit deeper.
When we look at the inside, and this showing us that this is a cast structure at one point, that this is a cast concrete, which would require tons of steel and reinforcement. And here we can even see the steel poking through, it seems like. Just beautiful. And not a mountain.
Okay, so he's saying tons of steel and reinforcement to create this, right? You heard me. Let's take a look at this place with the high resolution pictures that I found, and you'll see that. Look at this. This is modern concrete reinforcement here, and it's might even have steel rebars inside. Okay, another concrete thing here, because this is totally collapsing structure of a natural clay type of rock. As you can see, this little crust here has this color as the same as this line here. So somebody scratched all this stuff, all this sand rock stuff here to create something like this, and here too. And it forms like a little roof type of line. The same as we can see here. It's totally not very low technology of performance here. Another block that is holding all this stuff, because it's definitely collapsing if they wouldn't be holding, right? These columns are for sure holding this place. Otherwise, nobody would have put these columns there, because they would be afraid to let the tourist walk inside. Who knows? Maybe this is something that could be plugged in to reinforce this place. You have to go there and check it with the very good zoom off, or go up there with this, maybe with safety measures to take a look at it. But I see this cross type of here, and here he says that, look at here, as like a bending angle, so it's not very good quality of performance. So all this place is an ancient type of temple, pre-Christian temple. It's a tourist site, guys. Look at this inside facilities. They don't look as beautiful as this ceiling. And nothing extraordinary in the ceiling too, because I will show you so many houses in Russia, in Moscow. These type of houses, they were built in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 40s. All these type of houses, sometimes they have arches, okay? And so some of these arches have this type of ceiling inside, and it's done with the simple plaster, cement type of plaster. Well, some people tend to believe that this is a cargo code structure, which could be representing the ancient technology of portals, of teleportation technology. But I highly doubt that. Okay? I highly doubt that. But, anyways, this is not very hard to do. In 19th century, in 17th century, they've been doing this. In 16th century, even sometimes you can see this. So, as I've been saying, those fellows like to attract tourists, and they like to do some weird stuff, right? So, anyways, but yeah, sometimes it could be a design of something that is a cargo code, right? Like here, what are these things here for? It's a kind of design. So somebody seen something maybe on some ancient drawings. I don't know where he put this stuff here, but we cannot say this is I don't know, disinfection from bacteria area or something, right? But it could be some representation of some ancient technology Well, cool. As I've been saying, everything in ancient times had its purpose. And if you have some type of way, something or lines, it's so the matter of purpose, okay? It could be representing something. Many different Christian facilities have this type of ceilings, and they don't require massive reinforcement. They can be repaired easily and created easily if you have the skill to do that, okay?
Not carved. Come on. With this honeycomb.
Yeah, no, not carved, of course. They're not carved. They are made.
Here's another one he shared. And some other ones. I just love this. Like a skyscraper, reminding me of something I would draw. Just a building in ruins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. John has beautiful imagination, great imagination, and he can draw, sure, something like this. But the problem is, this doesn't work in real life. If you have so much weight on the roof of the building will collapse if it has empty spots there. Certainly, time will erase the and rust out all these steel rebars that are holding all these floors and walls and all these rebars with be just rusted out, and therefore it will collapse.
Showing slit windows. And I love this one. Just a mega structure rendered into a blob. And here in China, I had an old friend from Boston named Jim, and he would say China, add an R to the end of it, and I liked it. China, here we are in China. And you see how they've built little wooden windows, just availing themselves
Yeah, John is very romantic. He is even astonished with these wooden windows.
of this engineering. Here, Wiseup says this looks like it would have been a water wheel, and yes, some kind of tech
Well, at least he doesn't say it's a melted building, John.
that has now just been sandwiched into this mess. And again, all these windows are waiting to be popped out. I'm sure
Yeah, why wouldn't they? Why nobody actually popped them out before? If this is so ancient, I don't know. It's not repeatable, John. Your explanations are not repeatable. They are not relevant to what you're showing, and this is not very good to debunk Wise Up.
it was a great pastime to the people of the past. And I look forward to finding one out in the southwest desert and popping it out. And what it seems to be is these structures are marshmallowed, burnt, crispy marshmallowed on the outside. And the inside is completely preserved like this. This is so beautiful. Look.
Okay, let's go to this place too and find out there's a whole bunch of these types of ceilings everywhere in the world, and we don't call them melted buildings just because of this type of ceiling, right? First of all. Secondly, if we find that exact place that you've been showing and find as highest density available, we will find out that it is also not a melted building, John, because it's not a building, it's a construction inside of this thing. It's an integration of something like this thing here and this thing here. So they can create this thing, as I've been showing. Look at this wooden planks they used to form it from concrete. And I've been saying many times, ancient knew how to make concrete, even from granite, because this is definitely a very good job. But I'm not very sure about that actually. I have to go there and find it out. But I'm pretty sure what this place is. It's not a melted building. It has a bunch of places here, and they all don't have any uh, evidence of melted buildings. Okay? This place is well known and has a bunch of reconstruction and stuff like this inside, right? But it's so different. It's so not repeatable. It all has marks of reconstruction and sometimes even with some primitive materials like this. Okay, so it will be all been used by somebody before us, of course. As you can see, what they were doing, they were cutting this ceiling to create this type of thing. This is not melted. It's surely visible here. And look at this. It's collapsing. The ceiling is collapsing. Okay, that's why they are doing all this stuff here. So just explain me who would have been doing this type of, you know, work here and there just for this type of height. I don't know if that's a good explanation for you or not. And all this black grayish material here is just because of weathering. Because if you scratch this rock, you probably find out the true color is different. As I've been saying before, you can find the entrances only on the bottom. That's also very, very good uh, evidence that this is not a melted building. Because just imagine if you have something on the bottom that has empty space, right? And if it's not a natural formation or so-called natural formation, would it actually be holding for so long? I will highly doubt that. That's why they are doing these reinforcements and reconstructions. And the building would have collapsed already. The building would have collapsed. So just showing us one of the 50 caves here, 50 pictures from the caves, like this. What? This is also a remains of melted building, right? Why is it also on the same level as this cave? So a bunch of questions that people should be asking before they claim something and present it as a melted building proof. Okay, so you can also go and take a look at more information, more Jon's videos, more other people's videos, find out maybe the best evidence, send it to me, and I'll do another video about it. But all I found in Jon's video doesn't relate to uh, anything. Yeah, that's the only thing that could be related.
again, and I believe Wise Up was saying this was metal, like it looked like rust, and it does. And this is a gorgeous picture. So beautiful, I can't even comment. And look at this. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's clear to see that this was cut from. Look at this. It's all cut. It's all cut and cleaned. That's why this is black and this is brown. That's the only reason.
Unbelievable. And I think we had this stuff in the Southwest as well. I think all the beautiful national parks are actually just cover-ups. And before they let tourists in, they either bombed or covered up a lot of this, making it look natural. And next I'd like to go to India. But real quick, this is in Utah, and I think this is a cover-up. And here I wanted to show.
So he switches the topic and goes to some other things that are not related to melted buildings, showing how good were the carving skills of the people in India. Probably he was saying that this is a melted building and doesn't believe that this is carbon. So, Jon, you're debunking yourself in the same video that you're proving or giving us the melted building proof, right? So let's see. So this is all evidence of hydraulic mining, probably. All these mining operations that we had recently uh, in this world. Let's see. That's how they do it. They can move it this way, that way. They can direct it. They can create lines. They can go do the vertical. Look at this monitor, how it looks. Yep. Look at this. I'll pause the video. Look at this. It has this line here also. It's the line of contact. Yep, that's how they do it. So let's go to see if everyone's okay. Oh, we've passed 1 hour, 71 people watching. Thanks, guys, for coming. Oh, let's see. Some of the entrances look like a world into the like a world into the underworld civilization. This probably has we had some underworld civilization, of course, but this is definitely not the entrances to it, because all these entrances are hidden underwater, definitely, because look at what Germans were doing during World War II. They were searching for the entrances in the north parts of Europe, and they were searching for the entrances in so-called Antarctica. Okay, and they were promoting this theory of some underworld Agartha plays and so on. So probably they knew something. Otherwise, they would be doing it on the ground, but they were doing with this case with submarines. John does a lot of boots on the ground, which is cool. Well, he sure does. I'm not saying that he's a good or bad creator or something, but when you have a thumbnail, melted building proof, you're supposed to talk about it, not wasting people's time. Okay. So hopes you guys found this video comprehensible. The topics I should cover. Yeah, some other topics. I cover other topics on other channels that I have. I have a yellow beige channel, which is listed in the description. You can take a look at the topics we discussed recently with Roxanne on Ukraine and all this stuff on the reset and so on. Okay, let's see if we have anything about melted buildings in the comments. It's either a melted building or a body part or a trio for some channel. There is no in between. You have to keep an open mind and be willing to change with the new info. Well, I'm doing this for a very long time. I don't see any reason to keep something in mind for like when I don't see any proof of that, right? But I return to the topic as long as people bug me out on it or poke me with some evidence that they believe is evidence or something. I don't know, or some comments which they believe. I always take a look, guys. Send me your evidence. I've been saying that to Autodidactic, to Berserker Bear, to that guy named Crackhead, and his friend, which he believes also with this cheese stuff of things. And then here we go with Jon Levi. He's doing these videos, and so I might as well take a look because he wanted a discussion. If he didn't want a discussion, I wouldn't be doing that. But he wanted a discussion. I can debate anyone. We can go ahead and do it. Wise Up channel has good ideas. Yeah, sometimes he has good ideas, but literally, I haven't seen any video where he has any reasonable and repeatable discussion on the topic that he researched. Okay, he never debates anybody. He never shows his face. When he had issues with age of disclosure, he also ran away. Is that what I say? He was, going personal and so on. So I mean, I'm not into this thing. I'm not fighting with people. I want to debate real topic. I want to debate evidence that they present, but nobody actually comes. That's the problem. Arches could be the horseshoe magnets on electromagnetic grid. Well, who knows? Teleportation. Yeah, some people believe in teleportation. I even had videos about that too. Parasite destroys multiple times most of our technology. They sure do. Okay, let's see. Pum, pum, pum. Maybe Russia won't get banned. Maybe, but it's Russia that bans, not YouTube bans Russia. Yeah, it's Russia that bans YouTube, like they did with Instagram from the 14th of March. Everybody got marshmallowed. Thanks a lot. It looks, it literally looks carved. Yep, it looks carved and it is carved. I like your first style you got for the theory, not for the person itself. Yes, I think John is a good person. He's very romantic. He's walking around. He's doing it with his dog and stuff like this. So I mean, why not? He has birds. He's a good person, I think. Yeah, I don't think he is hypnotizing his viewers, but who knows? He's a good narrator. Maybe he has some skills. Who knows? John's narration appeals a lot of people and gets them thinking, isn't that the most important? Yeah. Once you attract a lot of people, you put mud in the water because those people should find some other topics, some other opinions, right? And that's what I'm saying. Always go and cross check everything I say. Go and do your research. I don't hear anybody coming to me and with the feedback. Some people do, but the most just disappear. As what I was having a challenge with the Empire of Rust thing, I was saying, guys, let's everybody just hit this topic. This is a bombshell. Just do it. Do your research and find as much possible about the Empire of Rust. Please start it. And only one person responded. Only one person. Nobody else. Nobody else even thought of doing anything. Because they're fascinated with these fascies and all this plasma and all this stuff that is, you know, is speculation and nothing else. Okay. Marshmallows got extra crispy. Just sucking up for some marshmallows. Yeah, that's good. Not a Wise Up fan. John loves to suck it up. Balloon animals. Looks like a furnace. Well, who knows? That's what a friend of mine, a good researcher, is what I say, because he's putting everything on list. He's even better than me, twice, three times better than me. He quadruples my efforts on creating his videos. You all know this person. His name is Stellium7. Stellium7. Go and take a look how he does his research, how precise and intense on each and every fact. He is doing very good job. And opposite, you have people like Wise Up, I don't know, you name it actually. All these people just claiming, and not even doing the cross checking. What about journalism rules? What about this, fake news agenda that everybody doesn't like? And those people are promoting fake news, guys. Just That's what I'm saying. Go to the search results and find a good, decent video on the mudflood. You find so many distraction videos. You find so many disinformation, misleading, people that hate mudflood, all this stuff, but not a single mudflood video at all. Not a single mudflood video because people don't even understand what mudflood is. It's not just a single flooding or simultaneous great flood. It's nothing like this. It's just a coin term that everybody should recognize, but they use it. They use it for some certain reasons. I don't know why. I've always been saying, do your own research, but don't disappoint the crowd that is watching you, because you are misleading them, and they will be surely disappointed when they find out that you are lying or you're speculating, and you create this image that every other researcher that's doing mudflood is a BS promoter. Is what I've been saying with this case with Barnabas Nagy being debunked on Simon Dan channel, who is very big channel at that time, and even now he's even bigger, I believe. So he debunked not only Stellium 7, by the way, he was debunking also Barnabas Nagy and his mudflood video, right? But that video was really video that even a kid could debunk, because he was just speculating, promoting several unbacked claims or something. So I was in the law enforcement system. I was researching the evidence when I was doing the investigation of economic crimes and corruption cases. At the age of 27, I quit that job, started a new life. Now I'm with digital marketing and YouTube, working with this reputation management also. So have my own clients which pay me for YouTube, but I still remember how we did this investigation procedures. We were doing them the same way Stellium 7 is doing his research, doing point by point, very critical, skeptical, not even believing our own eyes, always putting analyze in labs and stuff like this, checking all this expertise, checking all these tests and practices, and even making the criminals to repeat that stuff if we were unsure if he can do that. But we were testing everything, cross-checking. That's why it was easy for me to do my research, because I was trying to compare, relate, refer. You know, this is how it's done, because we can only visualize what we cannot just go everywhere, right? But John has the coordinates. He might as well go there and prove we all wrong. More like melted craniums. Okay, let's go for Jerry. Everything is melted building, but he's wrong. Yeah, not what he has to show. Interesting. Well, anyways, guys, thanks a lot for coming. I hope it wasn't bothering, or it wasn't boring and bothering. Well, thanks for your attention. Subscribe and maybe share, put a like if you wish, but don't do it if you don't really want it. I don't have any more PayPal or Patreon. If you one of those three fellows that's still left on my Patreon, I'll subscribe. Don't pay me anymore, because no money will be received. It's all blocked from Russia and it's useless. So thanks a lot for coming, guys, and see you later. Bye.